Welcome and very good morning and very good afternoon to all the participants. Thank you for taking your time out to attend this session. Today we are going to talk about the student's study guide. We are familiar with the word study guide from our own college days, in which anything which helps in the study of the students used to call as the study guide, like the lecture notes which were compiled by the students, the questions which were compiled by the students. Sometimes the students make their own notes and they used to share them or sell them to the other students, so they become the study guides. Those type of materials were available, and in the market we used to get the test papers and all those things which helped the student in a way or another in their studies and in their examinations. But what study guide we are going to talk about today is a very formal document which is prepared by the university. So it is a legal document, and all the content which is covered or presented in the study guide is approved by the faculty or by the university to be in the guide. It becomes a sort of a legal document also, because the students can use this document for different reference purposes. So we are going to talk in a more serious way about the study guides and how these guides are prepared or can be prepared. Okay, the learning outcome of this session is that after attending the sessions, the participant would be able to construct a guide for the students to organize their learning activities according to the schedules, utilizing all the resources which are available to them to the best of their abilities, while it assists the lecturers in planning their teaching learning sessions to best achieve the desired outcome of the module. So it is going to help both the students and the lecturers simultaneously. There will be a short introduction followed by the components of the study guides and the creation of the study guides, how they should be produced as a plan of presentation. This article by Harden came in 2000, in which Harden has specified 12 roles of the medical lecturers as a role model, as an information provider, as a planner, as a facilitator, and as an assessor. And the major component of that role was also as a resource developer. So when the curriculum moved from the teacher-centered learning to the student-centered learning, and the students were thought to be more responsible for their progress and for their studies, many of the lecturers thought that this is going to reduce their workload a lot. Although it didn't happen that way. Actually, the workload of the lecturers increased tremendously, because now they have to produce a lot of resources, which includes the PBL package, the fixed learning modules, audiovisual materials, dissection, plastination, clinical vignettes, clinical situations, guidebooks, PowerPoint presentation, lot of those materials. And that also included the formation of or construction of a study guide. So what actually is a study guide? It is a management tool which helps the student to organize and accomplish their learning outcomes. It is a guiding tool for the students also to take responsibility of their own learning, because we think that the adult students should be the self-directed student, and they should be able to do most of the things, most of the learning by themselves in their own free will. It is also a supervision tool which directs the lecturers to talk about the essential core content in their teaching and learning activities. And it assists the student to interact with the various components of the curriculum. The various components of the curriculum will be the learning outcomes, the content which is being delivered, what are the assessment methods, the so-called the constructive alignment, in which the student should know all those things in order to pass the examination. While the study guides may also communicate information, its primary purpose still remains that it communicates the teaching and learning methods to the students. Our well-produced guides are those which contain carefully prepared materials, which is set in a logical way, which is an important aid to focus the learning of the students. And this is especially so required in the integrated or in a problem-based learning curricula, because in the integrated curriculum, there is no real guide to the students from where to study, how to study. And there is no exact curricula like the syllabus generally the students have, that they have to read these things. But in the integrated curriculum, the students are open to access any resources, to study from wherever they want to study. So you need to guide them, and we need to guide them a lot in this respect. The study guides also provides the key information on a given topic, allows a self-assessment of the students, in which you can give them the questions, or the students can assess the different resources to do self-assessment, and to the appropriate resource materials, which are available a lot on the website, as well as the university provides them. The students are also likely to make good use of well-designed guide, are not likely to make use of well-designed guide if it is not attractive looking to them. The designing of the study guide should be such that it looks attractive to the students. So as the textbooks which are produced for the students have a lot of pictures, is more colorful. Similarly, the study guides had to cater to the needs of the students in that respect, that they look attractive to the students. What is the need of the study guides then? To communicate the module learning outcomes and content, which is a very important component, to avoid the overloading of the curriculum for the students, to guide to various learning opportunities, to promote independent learning, that is SDL, to help in the delivery of variety of educational approaches like distance learning modules which are prepared, to maximally utilize the available resources, to plan revision and spaced repetition. What is spaced repetition? This is a new thing which is coming up, which says that we all know that whatever we learn, we lose that memory within 3 days of learning it if you don't revise it. So practically the first thing to guide to the student is that once you have attended a lecture, go home and revise that. But that revision also will be lost in 3 to 6 days of time. So the students medical students are asked to do the spaced repetition, means that you revise that topic after a few months at some appropriate time, and when you see that that topic is in relation to some other thing which you are studying. So you go back and revise that topic again and again. The more they go for the spaced repetition, the more chances are that they are going to remember all this information till the end of their 5 years and later on as well. To promote communication between the discipline is very important, because when we are using an integrated curriculum, the disciplines should be able to communicate with each other and tell each other about their flow of the activities and how these activities can be synchronized. It let the staff make maximum use of the online and offline resources, which are very many, and to make teaching comprehensive and fun for the students, and to make program accountable and standardized. On the right side of the, there is a column in which I have identified the 12 study skills of the successful students. And if you see that there are a number of those things which, if the study guides are well prepared, is enhanced for the students for their successful learning. What are the components of a study guide? Acronym we use over here is "We Take Care of You." Sorry, it was just coined to ensure that we don't miss out anything in the presentation. So W stands for the welcome note. Guides are developed in narration, so it should be more like a storytelling thing, so that the students can engage in it directly, like you are talking to the students. The name of the module, for example, it's a musculoskeletal module, part 1 should be given. The class, which year, which semester, the year, which academic session, because I've already told that these guides are legal documents, so and you have to search for them after many years as well. So they should have all the pertinent information regarding which session it was used in the study guides available. Date and duration, module begins on Monday and ends on Sunday, if Saturday and Sunday are the holidays. Please remember that when we are giving this duration, the last Saturday and Sunday is included in the module time period, because the next module will always start on Monday, and those Saturday and Sunday, if they are not included, will be missed out. And also be wary that the students do a lot of activities on Saturday and Sunday, even if the module has finished, because they are involved in PPD activities and other university activities during those 2 days as well. So the module begins from Monday and ends on the last Sunday of the duration. Introduction, the general layout of the module, who is who in the module, that should be given in the module guide. Essential requirements, teaching learning tools, route to the study, prerequisite, directions, targets, time management, etc. We're going to talk about all of them in detail, but it should be there in the welcome note so that the students have some idea of how the module is going to run. This is a very, very busy slide, plus you don't have to read everything over there. It says that the module is running in 2 phases, so this information is pertinent for the students. We will not be covering all this musculoskeletal module. We will not be covering the muscles of the thorax and pelvis, because they will be taught in some other module. The information is already there. So the students are not apprehensive that they have to cover each and every part of the musculoskeletal system. The subjects are synchronized through their logical flow in the content coverage, so that you know that why after anatomy, the physiology lecture is there or the biochemistry lecture is there. Don't hesitate to contact module coordinator, who is the person if the students have a difficulty to go to. So you identify that person over there, or the lecturers are available all the time. Also tell what else will be covered during this module. For example, personal and professional development, PPD, normally runs vertically in each module. So give information about those things, and sometimes the students have to do some, for example, games, and they have to spend some specific time for their holistic development in games. So identify all those things which are required for the students to graduate. In most of the institutes in Malaysia, for example, if the student does not pass the PPD module, will not be able to graduate until and unless they have they receive the pass in that module. For the problem-based learning, guide the students, because these are all new things for the students. The problem-based learning, case-based learning, team-based learning, how they will be done and how they are going to improve their learning. These all information should be provided in the module guide. The educational strategies, integrated learning, focuses, most of the universities in Malaysia are following the integrated curriculum now. It might be at different levels of the ladder of harden, but still we are following the integrated curriculum. The PBL approach and the student-centered learning approach is very, very much a part of the curriculum. So in integrated curriculum, the learning is focused on key issues, adapts holistic approach, learning in context, and the core curriculum has been identified. What core curriculum has been identified has to be communicated to the students. Students should know that what are the things in the lecture which are must know for them, and which are the things in the lecture which are told to them just to enhance their learning, but are not examinable, so that they are not burdened with covering all those things in their learning process. Integrates the basic and the clinical sciences. It promotes the deep learning approach. So we have to help the students to achieve those deep learning approaches through adding some activities in which the deep learning approach can be enhanced. Identify the gaps in the knowledge as well. This will help. The study guides are going to help in developing all those materials as well. Enables application of knowledge to real life situation, solve problem and feedback. So we can add some question answers, some feedback, some problems into the study guides to help in that. Foster critical thinking and lifelong learning. So interpreting of data, searching evidence, generating hypotheses. The PBL pattern, for example, it is enhanced in the study guides. One strategy which is used by some people is to add crosswords over here. This crossword is self-created. So, and usually there are some sites available on the computer in which you can construct those crosswords. So these type of activities practically help the students in integrating and revising whether they understand and they know the basic sciences thoroughly or not. The second educational strategy is STL. Study guides can improve students' ability to assimilate and synthesize. Thank you. The study guides can improve students' ability to assimilate and synthesize medical information and reinforce their self-learning skills. Taking notes. Inform the students that it is important for them to take notes during the sessions. They might use the laptops for that purpose, which will increase the speed and the legibility. Reviewing the lecture notes on the same day is emphasized most of the time in the study guides. Undertaking the self-study, the study period of the students does not finish after the working hours. They need to have an extra of 6 to 8 hours of study. So the student planner for each week is emphasized in the curriculum. From the session finishes at 6 o'clock in the evening. From 6 o'clock in the evening till 9 o'clock the next day, what actually the students do and how do they plan their day, the remaining part of the day, and how much of the time and how that time is being spent for their self-study. If the student develop that study planner, their study will be very much organized, and it is highly emphasized in the study modules. Selection of online resources, which includes the online lectures and online question banks. How to assess them, how to approach them is being guided. STL time is for the student study, and it is not for the replacement of classes, has been emphasized, because the study time which is given to the students in the timetable, usually sometimes the lecturers use it to replace their classes, which is not allowed practically in many of the institutes. The timetable identifies the slots when the self-directed learning can take place. The topic delivered by the lecturer study the topic already delivered by the lecturer and identify weaknesses in the understanding, ask peers or lecturers to clarify the concept. The students are motivated to do that. Topic to do self-study are identified as a DSL topics also by the lecturers. And if the topic is a DSL topic, then the lecturers prepare the material for that, which includes, for example, there is a fixed learning module. So the fixed learning module is a DSL way of delivering a content, and the lecturers have to prepare the material for that. Students are directed to self-study by providing guidance to the learning outcomes, to the content of the study, and to the resources. And the exact location of the resources have to be provided to the students to avoid wasting of their precious time. A study guide also contains materials like clinical cases through which the student can learn about their strengths and weaknesses of the basic science knowledge. The clinical cases provided can include presenting complaint, investigation, mock results, other things. Remember in the preclinical years, the aim of this is not to solve the problem; it is to go back to the basic sciences. While if the study guide is being prepared for the clinical years, then it can go up to the level of the application of the knowledge to come to the diagnosis and to the management of the patient. This can be followed by specific self-assessment questions and references to find the answers. And the activity can be done either alone or with the friends or as a study group in the hostels. You don't have to come to the classes to do that. For example, this is one PBL component which has been added in the study guide. The students are asked to solve this issue, solve this problem, come up with the learning needs and see how much of the learning they need. Similar pattern like we do for the PBLs, but it is done in their free time, in their hostels, in their or online. It depends upon the students' innovation in how they are going to approach it. Student they are more learned in the online resources than we do are. For the clinical years, the list and outline of the case solving exercises of the cases to be seen in the ward or in the ambulatory settings are included. Opportunity to participate or attend a faculty or hospital activity can be provided to the students. The arrangement can be made that student can attend those sessions so that, the guidance on the financial and the physical resources offered by the institution and should also be provided, and plan to maximize the use of learning opportunities provided in the inpatient and outpatients. The other educational opportunities include the hospital wards, informed the students when they are going to go to the ward and what actually they are going to do in the ward. Sometimes the students go to the ward, but they are lost. They don't know what actually they can do over there. Apprenticeship with the junior doctors is a very important way of a very important educational opportunity, because the junior doctors are just 1 or 2 years senior to the, say, final year students. So they are more at the level of the student and they can guide the students very nicely. The students just have to have some good relationship with those students. Teaching ward rounds, the general ward rounds, the clinical skill labs with the simulated patient is another opportunity. Directed independent learning of time. Outpatients can also be tapped at the investigation laboratories, in the radiology unit, in the day surgery units, dialysis unit, physiotherapy, antenatal clinics, etc. The aim of telling all this is that it is not necessary that all the students should be in the wards or all the students should be in the OPD. There are so many other places in which the students can find a place to learn about their respective postings. Ambulatory daycare centers the care centers can also be used for that. Next is the timetable. The theme of the week for selection of appropriate topics is the good idea if the curriculum is integrated, so that all the teaching learning activity revolves around that theme of the week. The sequence of the topics should show the integration. The slots for meet the mentor session. The mentors play a very vital role in guiding the students towards the good resources, and even making arrangement for the students. If the students are weak in some subjects, they make special arrangement with the lecturers to cater to the need of those students. So meet the mentor sessions are there in the timetable. Slots for clear the concept sessions. Usually this is a time which has been specified in the timetable. Every day, about half an hour to 1 hour, and the student can go to the lecturers to clarify their gaps without making prior appointments. Slots for PPD are also in the guidebooks. If the PPD activities are taking place during the working hours. In some universities it does. In other universities, their PPD time is after the working hours. So we have to make sure that the PPD is taken care of. SCL makes up to 25% of the schedule time plus minus. This is the requirement of the associations, the medical association. The Malaysian Medical Association, for example, specifies that there should be at least 25% time given for the STL. The person in charge for any administrative problem, the person should be identified. For example, if the audiovisual aids are not working, when the internet connection is not working, who to call to, where to go to. So all this information should be there in the guide so that the students are not lost. Teaching learning material, where to get them, the flip charts, the markers, the specimens, the models. If you are going to borrow something from the anatomy to bring it to the class, how are the students going to arrange for that? All this information should be provided depending upon the requirement of the module. Slots for revision, if the exams are coming soon. So there are some slots given for the revision to the students. Slots for the assessment should be there if the assessment takes place at the end of each module, and the holidays, they all should be specified in the timetable. This is one example of the timetable in which we are telling the academic year, week number, the semester, the module week, which module, what is the theme of the module. You will see that there are specific STL slots which are given over there. The module is starting with the PBL. The thing which is wrong in this timetable is that on Wednesday we are starting with the STL, which is a very wrong approach. Because if the day starts with the STL, the students will not come to the class and they will appear in the university only at around 11 o'clock. So they are going to waste these three hours doing nothing. So generally the suggestion is that the day begins with the class and the day ends with the class, so that the students remain in the university throughout the day and they don't waste their time in other activities. Student being students, you know that they have this tendency of going out if they get the free time. There are a lot of activities, teaching learning activities, which are done generally in a curriculum. Which one is pertinent for that module, that should be selected and should be described as an activity, how it is being done. The faculty which is involved in that module has to be identified. For example, this is one module's faculty which was involved from physiology, and the list of the name of the lecturers, their telephone extension number, their email, and their student hour. Now, student hour is one idea in which the lecturer fix 1 hour of any day of the week according to their availability, in which the student can come to them, and at that time they are always available in their offices, and the student can come and ask them for the clarification of anything which they have not understood. And the thing which is important over here is that the abbreviations are formed for the name of each and every lecturer, because these big names cannot be accommodated in the timetable. So there has to be some short forms which should be available. The other feature of the study guide is the icons. Helps the student to find their ways, help the student to assimilate the study guide, improves the visual interest, bridges the language gaps, it's a communication devices in which it tells you what they are going to do now, helps to move from one resource to another for learning, and act as a metaphor to communicate quickly. So these are some advantages of using the icons, but too many icons may cause distractions. So not use icon for each and every word. You should have some icons when you are directing them to the resources, or you are directing them to the feedback, or when you are directing them to see and meet the mentor or something like that. These sort of things should have icons, and avoid too colorful icons, because they become visual distractors as well. The prerequisite of the topic is act as an advanced organizer. So they should be told to the students that before coming to that session, what is the prerequisite they should read about, they should have some knowledge about. Should be exactly guided on what they need to know to come prepared for the session. Usually it's a previously learned topic, so you ask them, the student, to go back to my previous session and study this thing to come for this class, because that knowledge is going to help you in understanding the next session. Guides prepared for house officer, for example, can have the common prerequisite in which you can tell them that whatever you have learned in the preclinical, in the undergraduate stage, this part is relevant for you to excel in, for example, in your medical rotation or in the surgical rotation, etc. Section for notes is always provided in the study guide. The study guides are divided into two columns. The column on the left-hand side is for the lecturers, and the column on the right-hand side is for the students to make notes. In those areas on the right side, they can have their plan for the revision. They can reflect on how they have performed in that week or in that day, and what is their plan if they have missed something, when they are going to rectify their shortcomings. And at some other stage they should tell that yes, they have completed their shortcomings, they have consulted the lecturers, or they have read about those things, and now they are good in their knowledge. So practically that is a planner for the student, in which they plan what they are going to do and have they accomplished their shortcomings or not. You can also provide the mastery grid to the students. Mastery is to acquire the competent knowledge and skills, practice integrating them, and know when to apply them. Must know topics and content is the core learning material which will be assessed during examination. And good to know topics are those which are developed just for the interest of the students. It enhances the knowledge, but they are not part of the core curriculum and will not be examined. While delivering the lecture in the sessions, we tell the students these are the must-know topics, so the students should be aware of those must-know topics. Mastery grids are developed to assess one's own level. So this is one example of the mastery grid. The student will self-assess them, whether they have, how they are doing with their history taking, physical examination, making diagnosis, etc., etc. And if they are scoring low in one module, whether they have improved in the second module or not. So as they develop as they move in the curriculum, they will know that how they are progressing. The route to study is what to do next. After a session, what they are supposed to do next. The topic will be reinforced during, tell them that this topic will be, for example, reinforced during practical session. You go to the labor room and see a woman getting delivered after you have given one session on the delivery. Look for the child with the edema in the ward and take a comprehensive history. We will discuss it in the afternoon. There will be a quiz on this topic tomorrow. We will discuss this topic during small group sessions, so come prepared with your questions, refer to the books, this is page, this is for further reading. These are few examples in which you are going to guide the students on what to do next regarding that topic. If you need any help, don't hesitate to see the concerned person. The session will not be, the session which are not specified in the timetable, for example, ward work. The word in the timetable only appears ward work. What actually they are going to do in that ward work, we have to specify for each and every week that what the students are supposed to do in that. The educational environment is very important. The definition of the educational environment is anything that happens in the university is the educational environment. So for the personal development and goal direction, students should be guided on the educational goals, the relevant learning out contents, and the constructive feedback should be given. The relationships which focus on the extent to which learners and the faculty support each other is very important. In very many occasions, the students are involved in the preparation of the learning materials, or in the development of the curriculum as well. For example, when the curriculum is developing, the student representatives have to be there to identify those topics which they think it should be over there in the curriculum, or usually it is the senior students which are going to guide for the topics for the junior students, which they thought that they suffered from because of the absence of those topics in the curriculum. The working system maintenance and the system changes also should be dealt with by both the lecturers and the students, so that there is no flaws in the delivery of the curriculum, so that the process keeps on smoothly. The curriculum aims and outcomes. The aim is the general intent, and the outcomes of each session should be explained, should be identified, and the verbs which are used for the outcomes, the learning outcomes which have been identified, really tells us that which type of assessment is going to take place for this content or for this question. So the students should be advised to look at the content and prepare for the examination according to that. For example, this is the one curriculum topic and its content which is given. The nerve and vessels of the lower limb. It is lecture number 3 and the practical number 2. Covers not only the knowledge component, but also the skills and attitude component. Demonstrate respect and care for the cadaver and prosected specimen. Work as a team and communicate effectively, like that. And the contents are all specified that these are the contents which will be covered during this session. So practically the students are guided thoroughly, not only with the learning outcomes, but also with the contents which will be covered. Anything out of these contents in the examination is not acceptable. The students are also asked to prepare the concept maps. For example, after doing the PBL session, the students have to make the concept mapping like this one. This has the advantage that student can then integrate their learning with between the different disciplines. And if you see those concept maps, you can tell how good they have developed their concept about something. So the concept mapping is usually done after the PBL sessions, and the students will project those concept maps in the online learning materials, and the lecturers can give feedback on those concept maps. Comparison tables are also a good way of integrating the learning and seeing whether the students have fully understood the concepts. For example, this one example is that differences between small intestine and large intestine. So the students, the table is given to the students and they will fill up those tables. For assessment, the general information, the teaching, the learning, and the assessment forms that triangle constructive alignment. So these things should be mentioned in the curriculum, and students should be informed that how these things are accomplished. Assessment is the evaluation which results in a grade, whether numeric or percentage, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D, E, F. Sometimes it's go even up to GH in the schools, or it can be simply descriptive, excellent, good, satisfactory, unsatisfactory. It depends upon the requirement of the course, whether you are going to use those marks for which purpose, or use those grades for which purpose. So practically this all depends upon the legality of the use of that assessment. The type of assessments are formative assessments like quizzes and tests which are done during the module. The summative assessments which are done end of the module or course or semester or professional examination. The continuous assessments are those which are done during the course, which contributes to the summative assessment. For example, the students' performance in the ward, that forms the part of the continuous assessment, and this is gauged by the lecturers or by the staff which is present in the hospitals, etc. Some assessments can be incorporated in the guide. The pre-test, for example, when the student comes for the module, you ask the question about the module as a pre-test and see how the students have evolved over the time. Self-assessment can be used in the form of multiple choice question, extended matching questions for the topics which have been delivered, and the answer can be attached as an appendix. The student can answer those questions anytime they want to, and then go and they can look for the answers. The problem solving exercises can be included in the guide to help students learn in context, and can be used each week following the theme of the week. The online assessment games and softwares are quite popular nowadays, and there is a list of games which I provided on the right side of the column. So you can use any one of them, but make sure that we are not going too much for the games and software. That as it is fun, but too much of a fun in the class practically lowers the learning capacity of the students. Provide checklist for self-evaluation of soft skills. Easy essay type questions can be given in the study guides, and which can be discussed during the class. So you give them some few essay type questions, and during the class we can discuss how the students have written and what is the model answer for that. The resources, the prescribed and the reference book list should be provided to the students for each module. The latest edition, the page numbers for each lecture should be given actually below that, so after the learning outcomes and the contents, give the prerequisite, give the resources, that these are the things which can be read to complete your knowledge. Important websites, inform about them. The library resources which are available, sometimes there are a lot of library resources which are available, which the students and even the lecturers are not aware of. Usually the librarians are involved in the induction week of the students when they come for the first time in the first week, and they tell them where those resources are. But I think it is a bit too early for them to remember all those things. So these sessions can be staggered later on as well, so that the student should know that what are the things which have improved in the library resources and how they can assess and how they can use. There are DVDs and there are journals, and the clinical key, for example, is being prescribed by many universities, but students don't use them maximally because they are not aware of those facilities. The clinical skill lab is one very important resource which the students can use. List of new and important words or phrases can be added at the end of each module for the students as an advanced organizer. Engage the students in the teaching learning processes is very important. Involve students and staff in the governance structure at all levels. That has been the directive of the Blown process for the European higher education statements. So practically the students should be involved not only in the formation of the curriculum, but even at the level of the governance. Involve students in the design, management, and evaluation of the curriculum, including guidebooks. It fosters sense of ownership, provides an opportunity to contribute to the improvement, and engage in peer learning. The aspire to excellence is the AMIS project of accrediting of a medical school. And in that, they take the feedback from the students that whatever they have suggested to the universities to improve, whether that has been implemented or not. And if it is not implemented, the accreditation process of that university is slowed down. So practically it is the big power the students hold over there to get what they need for their learning. There are open educational resources, which is the UNESCO project, was adopted in 2017, in which any type of educational material which is with the universities, they can just simply throw it online at one place, which becomes the public domain and anybody can access it. And usually it is an open license, means that they don't have any copyright and you can use it, you can adopt it, you can change it, you can rewrite it, but and use it for your assignments or projects and anything. It's used for teaching, learning, development, and research. Usually it is called as 5 Rs: reused, redistributed, remixed, revised, and retained. These enable the sharing of knowledge, save time and duplication of the same thing over and over again, contributes to new pedagogical practices. You become aware of what the other universities are doing and can adopt that practice, increases access to education, and helps in sharing the good practices. Again, there's a list provided over there. I don't know how many are accessible from the different countries, but most of the term which are highlighted in the OERs, I was able to open them. The feedback is another important component of the curriculum, in which you can give the students the feedback to reflect upon and assess their performances. The type of feedback can be diagnostic, in which you can identify the strength for reinforcement and weaknesses for correction, or it can be prescriptive, to you give them the suggestions how to resolve those problems. The feedback should be precise, personal, relevant, evidence-based, constructive, informal, specific, and encouraging. I think these are the main things which feedback should not be like punishment to the students. Students should be open to the feedback. It is given in such a way that students understand the significance of feedback. The last part will be the creation of the study guide. We are yearning for the excellence. The characteristic of the good presentation is that it has a space, it has a structure, a logical beginning, a body, and the end. So whenever you prepare an instructional material, it starts with the beginning, its body, and the end. The packaging must be well prepared. It should have activities which are engaging, interesting, and applied. The content it contains is information which the student needs, and it has emotions and evaluation. The emotion is very important, that when you are talking to the students, it seems like you are talking, there's a heart to heart talk going on. It's not that you are being forced to prepare these guidebooks. So the language which is used should be helping. The factors affecting the presentation is the typeface. Sans serif is serif. I think most of you will be aware of that. Sans serif are those words which does not have the stoppers. If you look at the word serif over there, S-E-R-I-F, at the end of that line, you will see that there is a small line which blocks that letter, the S-S-E-R-I-F. These type of fonts are used when the thing is projected from a distance, so that the people know that this is where the word ends, like we are creating a billboards, or we are creating a posters or things like that, which will be seen from a distance. So that will be for serif. But when you are making a presentation which will be like a reading distance, then the sans serif is more helpful for the eyes. It's more interesting for the students, and they don't get confused with the letters having so much of extra demarcations over there. So the typeface used should be sans serif for the study guides, which includes Arial, which includes Calibri, which includes Century Gothic. The Century Gothic is the one which I'm using for this presentation. The advantage of Century Gothic is that the words are slightly broader in size, while if you go for the Arial Narrow, the words become very close to each other, so all looks like a lines over there. So be very careful when we are using the typeface. The space or the leading in between the lines should be appropriate. They should not be that the one line is jumbled with another line. Do not use very small fine lettering when we are using the black and white printing, and do not use all capital letters. They are very distracting, and are not recommended that you use too many of the capital letters. Capital letters usually are used only for the headings. Use heading and headlines in a bigger and a bolder font, which is more appropriate. The factor affecting is the reading and the legibility. Okay, on the right side there is a text given over there. In this text, what you see is that there are a number of lines. There is a flow of different, like a water flowing in that page. That is called as the justified sort of presentation, in which the right and the left margins are symmetrical. But the problem is that in making that symmetry, the distance between the words is variable for the different words, for the different lines, and that causes that reverse flowing in that page, which is eyesore for many readers. Use short paragraphs, use sentences which are not very lengthy, and the vocabulary should be simple, which is easily understood to the students, depending upon their command on the English language. Interesting statements can be given, eye-catching phrases should be included. The copied material which we use, sometimes we put the diagrams or the pictures, make sure that the quality of those diagrams and pictures is good one and the students are able to read them properly. In the organization, the electronic versus printed or both, the advantages of the electronic is that it is a good communication between all students and lecturers. We can go on electronic media sitting anywhere from a distance as well. Offers interactive visual images, better illustrations. It provides immediate feedback. develops on the go, and the student can also add info or pictures into the study guides, and the lecturers can also keep on adding material into it. It has quick access from one section to another, so you can easily move from one part of the study guide to the another part. But the disadvantage is that it is expensive to produce. You require a system or hardware, good electricity, good internet connection, requires typing and computing skills to develop, difficult to scribble, highlight, or take note on those materials. It is harder on the eyes if the students have to keep on staring on the internet all the time. Tendency to become more entertaining, so more entertaining and more fun and less learning will beat the purpose, and is often marred by technical problems because not very many of us are internet or tech savvy. The cover page is printed online, mixture or both can be there. It should have salient features, should be the name of the university, name of the faculty or school, name of the degree offered, name and year of the module. These are all important components which should be appear on the first page of, or the cover page of the guide as a legal requirement. Practically, that is the requirement in Malaysia, and everybody, each and every university has to follow that. Then in the content page, you can have the vision, mission, you can have the general learning outcomes, introduction to module, teaching learning methods, specific learning outcomes, concerned departments, learning outcomes, outlines, student learning time, timetable, assessments, staff contacts, list of recommended textbooks and reference. The list goes on. It depends upon how much information you want to give to the students and how much you want to keep the control in your own hands. Usually the double column layout I've told before, the left for academic and right for the students. List clear objectives, structure and content, structure the content, re-emphasize the point, revise, hyperlink if it is you are using the internet or things like that. Use variety of media, be aware of the learning styles. Stimulate recall of the previous knowledge to build on, state prerequisite and ask questions. Provide learning guidance by introduction to the topics, subheadings, mnemonics, concept maps, etc. To elicit involvement, introduce discussion. If it is online, sometimes this study guides go beyond the online and offline. It goes like a group forming the WhatsApp group. And in WhatsApp group, they can ask questions to each other, and the lecturers usually keep on following those discussions, and sometimes they interfere when they think that the students are not going in the right way and they are discussing something which is wrong. Inform what will be covered in specific session, and the student need to learn by themselves. Provide positive feedback, prompt application, and enhance retention. So all these things, general information should be there. The universal requirement of instruction is that a common template should be used, which is agreed by the faculty. Every time if we change the template of the guidebook, the students might get very confused with that one, and they will lose interest in that. It should be a central production. Not everybody is capable of producing a guidebook by himself or herself. So this is a group activity in which the number of lecturers should be involved, and the guidebook printing is done by the specialized departments. To maintain standards, final editing, proofreading, and production process should be thorough and well managed to avoid any mistake. Guides need to be revised annually to accommodate for changes in the content, timetable, resources, changes in learning approaches, etc. So practically the guides are not something in which you can recycle them over and over the years, because if you start recycling them, then you have to keep on adding the extra pages into that, which are the loose pages, which is not a student-friendly approach. Straightforward, avoid jargons, add humor appropriately wherever you want to, but it should be appropriate to the level of the students, and does not go beyond decency. The glossary of the difficult words can be provided, and appendices for the further discussion should be the component of it. I think that will be the end of it. Thank you very much. If any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Professor Dr. Rukhsana Ahmed. I am from Bangladesh. I am a professor of anatomy.
Yeah.
So actually in our country, this study guide is not applied till now, but we are planning to introduce it. So I have a basic query, like in our system, we are not dealing with a module. We are like term days, first term, second term, and third term. Suppose within the first term, my question is, all the topics of anatomy that are included in the first term, will I introduce one study module, one study guide for all the topics that are included in first term, like heart, lung, diaphragm, embryological perspective, histological perspective? This is my question.
So, Prof, you are following the traditional curriculum.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. In traditional curriculum, you want to develop a guide only for the anatomy.
Yeah.
So practically there are going to be 3 guides, one for anatomy, one for biochemistry, and one for physiology.
Okay.
Yes. So first of all, you have to be clear what is the purpose of developing the guide.
Okay.
If the purpose of the developing the guide is only to give the information to the student about which topics will be covered, you don't need to have a guide for that.
Okay.
But if you want to engage the student with the teaching learning processes, you want to tell them that they should come prepared for that one, the guide should be such that it is easily handled by the students. Should not be a big book which they have to carry. The students don't want nowadays to carry.
I'm concerned about this. The volume will be very huge.
Yeah, that is the problem. So if you want to give only the lecture learning outcomes and the contents and the prerequisite, you can make a online.
Okay.
The students are well aware of they all have their smartphones. Yeah. So practically that will be a better way, because otherwise it will turn out to be a huge document in which they are going to get nothing more than the learning outcomes and the content. So if you provide them in online format, it will be better for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I have a question. First of all, thank you so much for a very comprehensive presentation. My question is that there's an argument that if we tell the exact weightage and TOS, if we communicate that with students, then there is a danger that students might not study some topics with less weightage. So is it a good strategy to communicate and disclose TOS and weightage of all the topics for the summative assessments in the study guide?
Weightage we are not really giving how much weightage is for each topic, because the weightage comes from the whole of the content. For example, I've given in one of the slides the different teaching learning materials and their presentation as face-to-face and non-face-to-face. So there is one lecture which is interactive lecture, which is 2 hours. So 2 hours of STL is provided to that. When we are giving the information, this one, we are not saying that we are going to ask questions from which topic in the examination. So the weightage is being decided by the assessment committee, and that weightage keeps on changing with each class, because sometimes you give more importance to one topic as a true-false question, but second time you want to bring that question as a essay type question, or you want to bring that question as a say MEQ. So it depends upon how you're using that question over there. But the importance is that there are some topics which you will be covered in the preliminary examinations. For example, in the progress test, you are going to have your own quizzes over there. The topics which don't have too much of a depth and you think are not really very important, or these are the very basic content, that can be covered in the earlier phases, while the important topics which are must-know topics, that will be assessed later on. So the assessment will be all around. It will be assessed at some time, but probably not to that depth. But when the students are going for a greater depth, they already should be knowing the topics which are more simpler. Until unless they know the basics, they cannot understand the topics which are complicated ones in simple words.
Madam, I have a question.
Yes, please.
I am Professor Imran from Jamshoro, Yarkaj University.
Yes, Prof.
What could be the size of the study guide? Because I am dealing with the medicine, and it's very difficult that you can concise whole of the topic and many more things in there. So I think so, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. This study guide actually making some more trouble to the student. Why should not make the syllabus book and just to add some of the assessment point in it?
Prof, for the clinicals, yes, you also have that logbook. You have the logbooks.
Yes.
When a lot of these things which I have mentioned in the study guides will be covered in the logbooks, and the logbooks students carry with them. So whatever material is left, if you want to guide the students, you can have the study guides for that purpose. Study guides should not act as a burden to the students. And the another thing is, which is another alternate is online study guides. When they don't have to carry too much of a stuff with them, or you can have a mixture of both. Some exercises you give them on the hard copies so that they can do it, and and at some places, for example, when I was reading the literature, some people develop study guides only for one topic. For example, there is a topic on diabetes mellitus, and there is a study guide on only diabetes. Or they can develop a study guide on a weekly basis, or they can develop a study guide on the modular basis. So it depends upon how much content you cover, how you cover, and how much independence you give to the students to do the self-study. So when the self-study topics become more, then the study guide becomes smaller in size. Until unless you are
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
One question more, madam.
Yes.
Can we make the teacher's guide also? Because we need the student to be stuck up on the curriculum. Why do not to stuck up the teachers also?
That was in my first slide, Prof. That the study guide is not only for the student; it also helps the lecturers to prepare the material in such a way that it is helpful for the students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam, one question, please. Can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
I'm Dr. Amikbal from Islamabad Medical and Dental College. My question is that should we add all these things and make all these things part of study guide? And if yes, will it be very, don't you think it will be very lengthy for the students to go through it and follow everything? Because
not at all, Dr. Iram. It depends upon, that is why I've told you that it is a huge list, but whatever your requirement is and how much you want to put for the students, how much burden you can give to the students to do all those things. It depends upon the level of the student. It depends upon the caliber of the students which you are having. It's all up to you. You can customize it. You can customize it according to your requirement.
Like, madam, you said that regarding PBL scenarios, should we add these scenarios in study guide, or we should give them just before the time of PBL when we are going to conduct that?
No. These clinical scenarios are not the replacement of the PBL session.
Okay.
The clinical scenarios which I have mentioned over here is the part of the study guide. This is just for the student when they're sitting at home, they're studying, a scenario is given so that they know after reading all that whether they are able to answer those questions or not.
Right.
So practically this is not exactly conducted in the same way like the PBLs. Remember, PBLs are conducted in 2 different sessions or 3 sessions. They don't work like that. These old scenarios you can give old clinical cases for the students, just to see, the students want to see by themselves that whether they have understood whatever has been delivered during that week.
Okay, right. PBL scenarios should be given just before the PBLs, not the part of study guide.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, there was,
Rosanna, may I have a question?
yes, Prof.
I am Dr. Rashid Mahmood.
Okay, Prof.
The question is that you use the word revision and spaced repetition.
Yes.
Can you use the term spaced revision? What is the difference between revision and repetition?
This is a psychological term which has come nowadays, Prof. It is called a spaced repetition. You revise it soon after you go back home. Something has been delivered and the student go and revise that. But it is the repetition of that revision. So you're repeating it again. So that is why it is called as the spaced repetition. And this is not done once. The students are supposed to do it after a few months regularly. For example, Prof, to go for the professional examination, students have to undergo different type of tests. These topics will keep on coming back on those tests. For example, at the end of the module, there will be one test, the same topic, they have to do it again before appearing for the, say, semester examination. Then they go for the preparation of the professional examination, then professional examination. So they are doing it repeated repetition 4 times already. So
Madam, what is the difference between repetition and the retreat?
Repetition and the revision.
Retreat.
Yeah, bench पे जाके बैठ.
Yeah, it's meant, yes, yeah, to re-emphasize that. Yeah, true.
Excuse me, ma'am. There is a question from me.
Dr. Razia. Yes, yes.
Professor Razia Chaudhary. I retired from the Allama Iqbal Medical College, Lahore, to the Confident Medical College, Lahore. I am community medicine. There is a question that in the study guides, should we put all of the contents of the course according to timetable?
The whole content of the course? Yes.
Course. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Only
relevant to that. Only relevant to that course.
Only relevant to that.
To that course. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because we have prepared, but I was not sure about this.
Yes. Yeah. Prof, it is very important that students know exactly what they are supposed to learn. If they don't know, because we don't have the syllabus, we have the curriculum. We have to guide the student on where to study and what to study. Okay.
Thank you.
During the last week, I received 2 WhatsApp messages. One is from Dr. Ambreen, who is the assistant professor. Is Dr. Ambreen around? Okay. Dr. Ambreen asked, is there any evidence available that study guides promote independent learning? He thinks the study guides are not that helpful, but I feel the study guides basically disseminates information. There is an evidence. There are a number of studies which are done in Saudi Arabia and in Iran, in which the study guide was provided to the half of the class and the other half was not given the study guide, and then they see the difference between the understanding of the subject. And they've asked the student whether this study guide has helped them. And the answer was in positive. So yes, there is an evidence that the study guides do help in the STL. The second question was asked by Dr. Nigat Nadeem. Dr. Nigat Nadeem is around? Dr. Nigat Nadeem is around? Okay. Okay, so there are a number of questions. May I request to please? May I request please to mute yourself unless you're asking a question. Okay. Do we have to include all this in the study guide? I've already answered that. No, there is no need to include all that. Can we please show a complete study guide of a module? Impossible. Cannot show it on the screen. Yeah, but usually these are not very big documents. They are about 25 to 30 page documents. Yes. Should crossword be used as formative assessment like mnemonics to remember the things? It is. I don't know if we have never used crossword as a formative assessment, but you can give them like you are using those online games to so-called the 21st learning techniques to gauge the students' understanding. Yes, you can use crossword, but crossword usually take a longer time to solve the puzzle over there. So practically, I think sometimes it will be difficult for you to get the result in that short period in the classroom or in the formative assessment. Some people work very good with the crosswords, other people don't. They find it difficult. Could you kindly share with the self-assessment tool for soft skills? Oh, that is another out of this topic. We use some guides, rubrics. Yeah, sorry, forgot the word rubrics. We have developed some rubrics to assess the soft skills for each level of the students from year 1 to year 5. We can have another session on the soft skills and the use of rubrics on that. Can reflection notes be added at the end of the study guide? They're not added at the end of the study guide. They are added as the student go along. So in the area which is provided towards to the left side, you can add those in the study guides as well, especially for those institutes which are not using portfolios. Otherwise, it becomes a part of the portfolio. So the credit
left side of what? Ma'am, can you clear it? Where should we add the area for the reflection for the students? Should it be like
Dr. Iram, please repeat.
Ma'am, my question is, where we should add this area for the reflection of the students in the study guide?
On the left side, there is an empty space given to the students. The reflection is students' own reflection, so they will write that area is used for the student comments. So they can put over there that they were not able to understand this lecture, for example, and they will go and see Dr. So-so to reconfirm, to get the clarifications, and when they are going to do it, and when they've accomplished it, they will write it over there that they have done it. That is reflection. Yeah, that will be the whole process of reflection.
And if it's a hard copy, then how the teacher will know about the reflection of the students where he's definitely
this is for the student themselves, Dr. Iram. This is not for the lecturers. Okay. The students should remind themselves that this is one thing that they are weak in, and they have to go and get it rectified. Okay. So practically, it is sort of an organizer for them that they have to do something to complete their knowledge about it. Sometimes, sorry, Prof.
Professor Rashid, a question is being asked in WhatsApp group that who is responsible to prepare this study guide? Is it medical education department or the faculty?
Everybody, Prof. The medical education department can help you in developing the guidebooks, but the content experts have to be there to give all the materials.
I think the content may be given by faculty, prepared by the medical education department, and then reviewed by the faculty.
No, Prof, because the medical educationists are not the subject experts. For example, if somebody asks me to prepare a material for the physiology, I wouldn't know how to prepare the material for the physiology. So the material will be prepared by the subject experts. The medical educationists will guide you how and when this will be applied and where we are use it, or how we are going to use it. They're going to guide you in that. But the materials, all clinical scenarios, the PBL packages, the clinical component, this all comes from the subject experts. Medical educationists are not the people who know everything. Please, because sometimes we give all the responsibility to the medical educationists. Medical educationists will guide the staff in in delivering their content, in preparing that content, but they are not the expert of the subject, so they cannot prepare the content. For example, if somebody in the medical educationist is also an anatomist, then they will know the anatomy part of it, but that doesn't mean that they can prepare all of the anatomy.
In the integrated system, as every department can give its own output, but to organize that overall, no department will take the responsibility. So I think that the medical education department will organize it, and each relevant department will give its own input. This is what we are doing in our institute, that each department gives its input, and then it is made by the medical education department and then sent back for the review. Because each department, I am being physiologist, cannot take the responsibility of coordination between the anatomy and the biochemistry. So
No,
I will
Prof.
give my input.
No, Prof. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You all should sit together. You all should sit together. If you are integrating, say, anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry, you all should sit together and tell in which sequence this topic should be put, for example. If you are not going to tell them, then how would the medical educationists know how it will be done?
No. That is the timetabling. That we do sit all together. Even the clinicians, they also sit along with us for integration. But that to put it into the module guide, the writing the names of all the teachers with their abbreviations and the learning outcome and all this, somebody has to take responsibility.
Yes.
There is always a committee. And in that committee, there are some permanent members and there are some members who come according to the module. The committee is headed by the medical educationist. Medical educationist calls that meeting. And if they have the clerical people available to support them, there is a support staff is also involved. All the head of the departments will come and they will discuss how this is done and how that will be put. The template has already been prepared. I've told you that there should be a central committee who should prepare the template, and the template will not change for each and every module. So that template is already there. The name of the people are already there. Which of those people will be involved in that module? You have to identify them. So the remaining material will be removed by the committee.
Yes,
so
that is the better midway. Yes,
yes. Because you cannot give the total responsibility to either of the persons.
To either of these. It should be a teamwork.
It should be teamwork. Thank you very much, Prof. Rashid. Okay, anybody else? Okay, should the credit hours also be part of study guide? Yes. The student, the credit hours, students should know that each week is 40 hours. And if the content is going more than 40 hours, they can make the complaint. The 40 hours includes not only the face-to-face, but non-face-to-face learning as well. So there should be an adequate time for the students to do self-learning. And if for example, a week is too crowded with the lectures and other activities, and there is not enough of self-directed learning time, the students do make complaint. That is what I was telling about the Aspire, that sometimes the student make complaints over there, and the program is not accredited for that. The overall credit hours practically is being decided by the week of the modules. If each week 40 hours, so plus minus 2-3 hours here and there can go. So that is the job of the curriculum committee. But how we organize that topics over there and how they are dealt with each week, that is the responsibility of the module coordinators and how they make the timetable. Have I answered? Okay. Are annual guides feasible then?
Yes, I want to ask a question.
Yes, Prof.
Professor Roxana?
Yes, Prof.
May I talk?
Sure.
My question is, I am a certified medical educationist from the University of Dundee, Glasgow.
Okay.
And I have been there for 6 months and I attended all the semesters. Unfortunately, I could not complete my diploma. But still I know, Alhamdulillah, I'm into medical teaching for the last 30 years. My question is, I am unable to understand. There is a teaching profession of professional teaching for engineering. There is professional teaching for law. There is professional teaching for other agriculturists. But there is no medical engineering educational department. There is no law educational department. Why medical educational department? We professors, we have a lot of experience. We have 30 years experience to teach the students. And we are being governed and advised every day from the medical education department. I'm not against the medical education department. We follow the advices of the medical education department, and most of the time I found them beneficial. But my question is that why not for the other professions? There should be
we are not concerned with
education department as well.
We are not concerned with the other professions, Prof, but if you think that most of the time it is beneficial, it serves the purpose. No? You yourself have said it is most of the time it is beneficial.
But I think that the experience of the seasoned teacher who has been teaching for the last 30 years, their experience that should not be altogether put in the dustbin.
No, it is not put in the dustbin, Prof. Don't be so negative about it.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Are annual guides feasible than piecemeal modular? If the system is running modular, this was the question given sent on the chat. Are annual guides feasible than piecemeal modular? Or should student be involved in preparation of? Yeah, this is the question I was. It's a very important question. No, you cannot have a one solid guidebook for the whole 1 year. It's going to be as big as a Gray's Anatomy. We don't want that. It should be just related to the specific module, and students should be involved. It's good that we should involve. Student knows, for example, the resources much better than we do. The student knows the computer part much better than we do. So you should involve the students in the preparation of the guidebook, especially the senior ones. Any feedback or former from student taken with ST to analyze the impact of student learning or best candidate? There are some studies which have been done, and yes, they are available online. Should practice assessment paper be included in ST example? Yes, you can. You can. Just make sure that the question which you are using in the guidebook will not appear in the examination as well. Otherwise, it will clash with the reliability of and validity of the questions. Okay, so you can use the old questions. Normally, we do use the old question with slight modification or sometimes directly, but these questions should not appear in the examination after that. Any feedback to former from student? Okay, where did we get the mind mapping case problem? Any case problem which is the part of the PBL will go for the mind mapping. Any PBL package which you are using, you can ask the student to do the mind mapping after that. This is not mind mapping. Actually, this is concept mapping, to do the concept mapping for that. The student should link the symptoms with the anatomy. The student should link symptoms with the physiology. The student should be able to link the system, the problems with the pathology. So when they're linking with all those things, they will know exactly why the patient is presenting with those complaints. So it is very important that students should be able to not only read about the anatomy, physiology, pathology in isolation, but they should be able to link those things with each other. So yes, mind mapping can be done. That's it. Okay, if no more questions, thank you very much for listening to me.
Can I ask?
Yes, Prof. Who?
My name is Dr. Faisal Mughal.
Actually,
Yes,
I am from Qasim University, Saudi Arabia.
okay,
I'm very much delighted to have these sessions, and I am going to attend in future as well.
Thank you very
Just
much.
one thing about the professor said that 30 years of experience. I think these meetings, which will be held for these guidance of the guidebook for students, I think the professors who are so much experienced can help and these meetings, and then they can help the medical education department, or they can guide that what is going to be. And in the same way, they can get more new latest information, what is going out around the world in the medical education. Secondly, my question is, do these study guides need to be having blueprint for the exam pattern or a guidance for a student? Does they need this type of blueprints guidance in the booklets or study guide? Thank you.
That actually serves the purpose. No, those guidebooks practically are going to guide the students to what they have to learn and what will be assessed and how to prepare for that. All that information is over there, except that we are not going to tell them exactly which questions are going to be there, but they will be guided on, and in the assessment component, they would exactly know what type of questions are going to appear in the examination. Yes, but the distribution
I'm not talking about type of the question. I'm talking about particular subject. How many questions will be from particular subjects like this?
No, this information is not for the student. This information is for the lecturers, and lecturers know exactly because that is done before each examination.
That means there will be two study guides, one for the teachers and one for the students.
Students, the teachers are guided mainly on the content and on the assessment methods. The distribution of question goes to a specific committee, and those committee practically decides which subject are going to get which questions from which type, and that information is disseminated to the departments to prepare the questions. That is the flow. We'll do one session on this one in some time, how to manage the examination, and we'll discuss that flow. But this information is not given to all the lecturers as well.
Okay, thank you. One more thing. Here, what we are doing as a module, or you can say the block, which we called it CVS or anything else, respiratory block.
Yes.
There is one person who is responsible for that block, who is going to make this all booklet along with the meetings with the subject specialist, medical education, and more quality assurance unit, which must be in all medical colleges. They have also giving the guidelines according to our Higher Education Commission or other authorities. So quality assurance unit must take part in the booklets along with medical education, but responsible must be one person who is going to handle that block or that module in a particular days or in particular course, and that will be going to have all the meetings and everything which is going to help in maintaining these guidebooks.
There's nothing wrong in that, Prof. Every university or every institute has its own system of developing those guidebooks. So sometimes the responsibility goes to one person, another time somebody else takes the responsibility. That is not
important. Yes, this is
the important thing is that this has to be a teamwork.
Okay, yes, 100%.
There's a question from me. From Qasim University said that there is a table of specifications for questions, MCQs as well as SCQs. These are recommended for teachers, but students also argue on this. Madam, you have given the questions from this part, more questions, and from this part, not more. University of Health Sciences provides us the table of specification. So you have to make the paper according to that. I am answering to the sir from Qasim University.
Yes, actually we have course specifications, and after that, we at the end of the block, we used to have course report also, that what we have planned and what we have done. So course specification, yes, course specifications usually help the students as well. But you know, as professor said, that we don't need to give them the blueprint of the exam. So previously there were some questions regarding that students started to ask that these are not coming from course specification or particular topics when they were having these blueprints. Now we also don't give blueprints to the students, so they will not come up with these questions. They have to study all whatever guidance given in the course specification, or you can see in the course booklet. So nowadays, this is not a problem that this is not coming from specific. Yes, the teachers who are going to make the MCQs, they are strict to give what are the learning objectives given in each lectures. You don't have to go outside from the learning objectives for the MCQs.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Yes, Dr. Pai?
It's my personal observation and opinion that as medium of instruction here in most of the colleges in Pakistan is English. So students do not know most of the terms in Urdu or Punjabi or Sindhi, Balochi, and Pashto and other regional languages. So is it a good idea that we start giving translation of common signs and symptoms and medical terminologies in regional languages? So it becomes easier for students to communicate with patients later on in their professional career.
I'm sorry, Dr. Fahad. Personally, I don't agree with that because we are preparing the students not only to be the doctors in Pakistan, we are preparing the students to be international doctors as well. And most of them will be moving around in the world. So I think they should be more familiarized with the English language. Practically, they should be having their PPT courses in English language if the students are not good in English.
Excuse me, Professor Roxana. I think that as far as proposal, that is very good. But I think that it is non-practicable. In this forum. It is not practicable. Thank you, Professor. You have given a good proposal, but it is not practicable. I appreciate, Professor Roxana, your talk. And it's very nice. Professor Alam Sher, Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah.
My hand wave to you, Professor Alam. I'm Professor Maya Ikram from Pakistan, Multan Medical and Dental College.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think a lot of discussion. Thank you for participation. I have 2 more slides to share with you before we end this session.
Okay.
Yeah. So while I'm searching for those slides, just to mention that whatever Dr. Roxana has mentioned, that is a generic, you see, guidebook. That doesn't mean that every guidebook, every discipline has to include everything. So you have to pick up the relevant things from that generic list and add. Otherwise, you were right that the logbook would, the guidebook would be too lengthy. And as she said, we have around 30 pages of these guides. So they are not really huge books, but although the list seems huge, but you have to pick the relevant ones. So the first is the first is the next announcement about the next. The announcement for the next webinar, the topic would be lecture-free curriculum, and that would be on 22nd of November. Time would be the same. So you can start thinking about this topic of lecture-free curriculum and can start sending questions. So I hope that would be an interesting session. And the next slide, as usual, can you please repeat the topic? Yeah, the lecture-free curriculum. So we want to develop a curriculum where lecture, let's say almost lecture-free curriculum. And let's start thinking about that. And then we will discuss about different ways of going that. But I'm asking you to start thinking about it. And if I have any question, please share those questions. So next is
can we contribute to this topic as well?
Sorry?
Can we contribute to this topic as well?
Yeah, you can send your suggestions and I will include that.
I will just send you some suggestions.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. And the last thing which I appeal at the end of every webinar, and may I propose to each participant to donate $1 USD or equivalent amount in your local currency to any deserving individual in your neighborhood or any public welfare organization in your community after attending every webinar conducted from this forum. So that's our appeal after every webinar, and I hope we can get cooperation in that. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a really, really interesting discussion, and we learn from each other. And I believe me, when we finish this webinar, we leave wiser than before because we learn a lot of things from you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Sana, for such a beautiful talk. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. May Allah bless you.